right now, every single country on Earth that wants to keep its lights on, move its trucks, fly its planes, or run its factories has to first get their hands on one specific piece of paper. Not gold, not resources, not military power, just a piece of paper printed in Washington, D.C. That's not an accident, that's the petrodollar. Collapse, 1971. Let's go back to the beginning, August 15th, 1971. Richard Nixon appears on national television with a very calm face and absolutely destroys the global financial system. He announces that the United States will no longer exchange dollars for gold. Just like that. Done. Here's why that was a massive, screaming problem. After World War II, the entire world agreed to a system called Bretton Woods. The deal was simple. Every major currency in the world would be tied to the US dollar, and the US dollar would be backed by gold. Specifically, $35 per ounce. Solid, trustworthy. Every country holding US dollars technically held a claim on actual American gold. But America had a problem. It was spending wildly. The Vietnam War was draining billions. Social programs were expanding fast. Cold War spending was enormous. America was printing dollars far faster than it was mining gold. Smart countries noticed. France noticed. Germany noticed. They started quietly knocking on America's door and saying, "We'd like our gold now, please." The gold reserves started shrinking fast. So Nixon made a decision. He slammed the door shut. No more gold exchange. The dollar was now backed by absolutely nothing except trust. And in 1971, trust in America was not exactly at an all-time high. So picture what's happening globally. Currencies are floating wildly. Inflation is rising. The dollar is weakening. Countries are panicking. The entire post-war financial order is shaking. America desperately needs something new to anchor the dollar. Something to make the world keep using American currency, even without gold behind it. The crisis deepens. 1973 then. 2 years later, things get dramatically worse. October 1973. Egypt and Syria launch a surprise military attack on Israel in what becomes known as the Yom Kippur War. The United States, a firm ally of Israel, responds immediately with a massive military airlift of weapons and supplies. The Arab oil-producing nations, organized under OPEC, are furious. They decide to fight back using their most powerful weapon. Not missiles, not armies, oil. They announce an immediate embargo against the United States and several Western nations. They slash production. Overnight, the price of oil rockets from roughly $3 a barrel to nearly $12. America descends into chaos. Gas stations post signs saying, "No gas today." Lines of cars stretch for blocks. Ordinary Americans sit waiting for hours just to fill their tanks halfway. The economy is wobbling. Inflation is accelerating. America has a currency with no gold backing, an oil crisis squeezing the economy, and a credibility problem with the rest of the world. This is the moment that everything changes. The deal. 1974, enter Henry Kissinger, America's brilliant, calculating Secretary of State. He boards a plane to Saudi Arabia with a proposal that would quietly reshape the entire global economy for the next 50 years. The meeting happens behind closed doors. But here is essentially what Kissinger puts on the table. You have something the world desperately needs. Oil. Enormous, unimaginable quantities of oil. But you are also sitting in an unstable region, surrounded by rivals, with enemies who would love nothing more than to take what you have. You need protection. We can provide that protection. Our military, our weapons, our intelligence, our guarantee. In exchange, you agree to one thing. You price all your oil sales in US dollars, only US dollars. and you take the surplus dollars you earn and reinvest them back into American Treasury bonds and American financial markets. Saudi Arabia agrees in 1974. Within the following year, the other OPEC member nations fall in line. The petrodollar system is officially born. How? The system works now here is where it gets genuinely clever. Understand this loop, and you understand why America has been so powerful for so long. Step 1. All oil is priced and sold in US dollars. Every nation on the planet that needs oil, and every nation needs oil, must first acquire US dollars to purchase it. Japan needs oil, dollars. India needs oil, dollars. Germany, Brazil, South Korea, every country needs oil, and every country now needs dollars to buy it. This creates permanent, endless global demand for American currency. America doesn't have to earn this demand. It's baked into the system. Step 2. Oil exporting nations, especially Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, receive enormous rivers of dollars, more dollars than they can possibly spend domestically. Their economies are too small to absorb volume, so those surplus dollars need somewhere to go. Step 3. Those dollars flow right back to America. They get invested into US Treasury bonds. They flow into American banks. They pour into American financial markets. This is what economists call petrodollar recycling. Billions of dollars earned from global oil sales come flooding back into the United States, funding American government spending, keeping interest rates low, and financing the very military that protects the oil fields, generating the dollars in the first place. It's a perfect loop. Oil generates dollars. Dollars return to America. America uses those dollars to maintain the military and economic power that enforces the oil and dollars rule. Round and round it goes. Here's where the system becomes truly frightening, because the dollar is the infrastructure of global trade. Any country cut off from the dollar system is essentially cut off from the global economy entirely. Banks cannot process their transactions. Trade becomes nearly impossible. Their currency collapses. Their economy suffocates. This gives America something no empire in history has ever had: the ability to economically destroy a nation without firing a single bullet. One executive order, a few regulatory decisions, and suddenly your country cannot buy medicine, cannot import food, cannot pay its workers, cannot function. America calls this tool sanctions. The rest of the world calls it terrifying. The challengers, now some countries, looked at this system and decided to fight back. The results were instructive. In the year 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraq would begin selling its oil in euros instead of dollars. 3 years later, the United States invaded Iraq. After Saddam was removed from power, Iraqi oil sales returned immediately to dollars. Libya's Muammar Gaddafi went even further. He proposed creating a gold-backed African currency called the gold dinar, specifically designed to replace the dollar in African oil trade. Libya held over 143 tons of gold to back the project. In 2011, NATO forces intervened militarily in Libya. Gaddafi was killed. The gold dinar project died with him. Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro tried a different approach. Sitting on the largest proven oil reserves on the planet, over 300 billion barrels, Maduro launched a cryptocurrency called the Petro in 2018, intended to circumvent US sanctions and sell oil outside the dollar system. The project collapsed. Then the United States escalated dramatically. Sanctions increased. Oil tankers were blockaded. And in early 2026, American military operations led to Maduro's capture. Trump publicly announced plans for American companies to help rebuild Venezuela's oil infrastructure. The largest oil reserves on Earth were back within the dollar system's reach. Was oil and dollar defense the only reason for these conflicts? Honestly, probably not. Each situation had its own complex politics and dynamics, but the pattern is difficult to ignore. The cracks appear for decades. The petrodollar looked unbreakable. Then came 2022. When Russia invaded Ukraine, America froze nearly $300 billion of Russian foreign reserves and cut Russian banks off from the international SWIFT payment network. It worked. Russia was hurt badly, but it also sent a chill through every government on Earth holding dollar reserves. If America could freeze Russia's savings overnight, they could freeze anyone's savings overnight. Suddenly, the dollar felt less like a safe harbor and more like a trap. China began aggressively dumping U.S. Treasury bonds, cutting its holdings from over $1.3 trillion down towards $600 billion. Gold purchases surged worldwide. Central banks added over 1,000 tons of gold in 2024 alone. Brazil and China began settling trade directly in their own currencies. India started paying for Russian oil in rupees. Most shockingly, Saudi Arabia, the country that built the petrodollar alongside America, publicly stated it was open to accepting currencies other than the dollar for oil sales. The dollar's share of global reserves has dropped from 72% in 2001 to under 58% today. The Chinese yuan, essentially zero in global reserves a decade ago, now sits at roughly 2%. Electric vehicles are spreading fast. 1 in 4 cars sold globally in 2025 runs on electricity. As oil demand eventually weakens, so does the mechanism forcing everyone to hold dollars. The petrodollar still runs. The dollar still dominates 88% of foreign exchange transactions. No single rival comes close to replacing it, but the cracks are real. The system is challenged from dozens of directions simultaneously. Not one giant rival, 1,000 quiet ones. Whether this machine holds for 50 more years or crumbles next decade, one thing is certain. Understanding it means understanding how the world actually works.